How do you earn PMP PDUs so that you can renew your PMP certification and avoid having to take the PMP exam all over again? So to maintain your PMP certification, you need to accumulate 60 PDUs every 3 years. PDUs are what's known as professional development units, and they're equivalent to a 1-hour unit of time where you either learned, taught, or coached other people or volunteered in some type of a project management capacity. Now I know, you might be wondering, why do I have to do all these PDUs? Listen, I get it. The last thing we all want to do is spend more time working. Am I right? But hear me out. The PDUs are a really great way for us to document what we're learning to grow in our career and being kept in the loop of best practices. So if you do not document your PDUs, your PMP certification will expire and you're going to have to retake your PMP exam if you want to continue to be a certified project management professional. So when you're learning through a podcast, taking an online course, or reading a book, simply document this activity as a PDU. Stick around because we'll go into this into a little bit more detail in this video. Now, PMI has a specific set of rules around the entire PDU system, and I encourage you to read through PMI CCR handbook for more detail. All links are down below in the description bar. So something that I do want to note here before we continue, when you're applying to take your PMP exam, the educational hours that you're using to qualify to take your exam, they're not PDUs. So let's say that you took a project management course before you took your PMP exam. Those educational contact hours cannot be used to renew your PMP certification. A PDU is earned only after you pass your PMP exam and you're now PMP certified. So with that out of the way, let's dive into what PDUs are. PDUs are divided into 2 areas. First is education. These types of PDUs are earned when you attend a class online or in person, listen to a podcast, read a book, or watch an online training, for example. Educational PDUs are required. So something to keep in mind here. Now the second area is giving back to the profession. Now this is earned when you spend time mentoring or volunteering with professional groups such as through your local PMI chapter. Now, unlike educational PDUs, you are not required to earn or obtain PDUs associated with giving back to the profession. These are completely optional. Now, all PDUs that you earn must align with PMI's updated talent triangle, which focuses on these 3 core areas. Number 1, ways of working, which was known previously as technical project management. Now, think of this in terms of learning the skill set and the best practices with how to lead and manage projects. It could be learning how to adopt the agile framework or tools and techniques to implement the waterfall approach, and of course, how to empower our teams to create the final product. Number 2 are power skills, which was previously known as leadership. Think of this area as the way that you work with others. How are you communicating and collaborating with those around you? And how are you influencing those in your organization to accomplish the goals of your project? And number 3, business acumen. And this was previously known as strategic and business management. Think of this area all about the business side. Pretty much an understanding of the organization's business goals and how you're making decisions on your projects that align with meeting the organization's strategic goals. So examples of this could be 100% on-time delivery to all customers, or aiming to decrease product defects by 95%. These are business goals that are aligned with your company's vision. So to renew your PMP certification, every 3 years, you need to earn a total of 60 PDUs, and these must be divided among these 3 different areas of PMI's talent triangle. You should have a minimum of 35 educational PDUs, but not only that, a minimum of 8 PDUs must be earned that addresses every single area of the talent triangle. So 8 hours from ways of working, 8 hours of power skills, and 8 hours from business acumen. And then the remaining 11 educational PDUs from any area of the talent triangle. Now just keep this thing in mind. There is no limit to how many educational PDUs you earn. You could earn a total of 60 educational PDUs. That is completely acceptable for renewing your PMP certification. So the best way to meet these educational PDUs is by listening to podcasts about project management, watching online courses, attending training conferences or webinars, and even reading books. And of course, we'll go through more ways on how to meet this later on in this video. Now, if you do decide to give back to the profession, then you can have a maximum of 25 PDUs that are associated with giving back. It's worth mentioning that this area is completely optional. To meet this category, here are the different ways that you can give back to the profession. First, By working professionally in your current project management related role, you can count your professional working hours towards these PDUs. Just make sure to have a copy of your job description as evidence for claiming this as your PDU. Now keep in mind that you can only use a maximum of 8 PDUs for giving back to the profession. The second way is by creating articles on PMI's website or creating training videos. And of course, the third way is by giving presentations at a local event, at your organization, or at a PMI conference. So for example, let's say you give a 30-minute presentation at work and you're sharing all of the lessons that you learned from attending a training course or a webinar. That's already 0.5 PDUs just for sharing your knowledge. The fourth way is by coaching and mentoring someone. And lastly, by volunteering at one of PMI's local chapters and events. So of these 25 PDUs that you can earn under the category for giving back to the profession, only a maximum of 8 PDUs can be used from working as a professional in your current project management role. Now the remaining 17 PDUs have to come through either volunteering, coaching and mentoring others, or creating knowledge through articles or videos. So let's take a look at an example scenario of what this would look like. You could have 8 PDUs associated with working as a project manager in your current role. You could have 1 PDU associated with spending 1 hour coaching and mentoring another person in project management. If you volunteered at a Project Management Institute event for 2 hours, that would also count as 2 PDUs. Now at work, let's say that you gave a 1-hour training presentation workshop on how to adopt the Agile framework and best practices with using the Jira software for how to lead daily huddles and monitor sprints. Well, this would count as 1 PDU. So for this example, you would have a total of 12 PDUs under the category for giving back to the profession. Now to meet the total 60 PDU requirement to maintain your PMP certification, you'd only need 48 remaining PDUs to come from the educational area. When you capture your PDUs, just make sure to take the following into consideration. How long did the training or activity take? Was it 1 or 2 hours? And what area of PMI's talent triangle did it cover? You'll need this information when you submit your PDUs to PMI using their CCR system. By the way, if you're getting a lot of value out of this video, be sure to smash that like button for me. Part 2, how do you earn PMP PDUs for free? So earning PDUs under the educational category is completely easy to do, and the best and easiest way that I recommend personally is by watching online webinars from projectmanagement.com completely for free. Let me show you how to do that. First, log on to the projectmanagement.com website using your PMI account. On the webinars page, you're going to see a list of all the webinars that you can watch and listen to. You can even filter and find specific webinars that are associated with the areas of PMI's talent triangle for ways of working, power skills, or business acumen. Here, let's pick the webinar for how to influence without authority in the workspace. When we scroll all the way to the bottom, we see that this counts as 1 PDU total and that it lasts about 1 hour in duration. Underneath the section for talent triangle alignment, we see that it provides 0.75 PDUs for power skills and 0.25 PDUs for business acumen. So all you have to do is watch the webinar from start to finish. And afterwards, on the projectmanagement.com website, go to your name on the right, click account, and scroll to PDUs rewarded. To the right of the webinar title that you just watched, click on PMP and download the certificate of completion. Now, since the project management webinar platform is directly connected to PMI's website, any PDUs that you accumulate here will be automatically submitted to PMI. After you watch your webinar, PMI will typically take about 48 to 72 hours to update this in your profile and about 7 to 10 business days for the PDU to be fully processed and recorded on your CCR transcript. Other ways to obtain free educational PDUs is by reading books on leadership, management, and project management, and of course, by listening to online podcasts such as the Project Management Podcast by Cornelius Fitchner. If you're interested in checking that out, I'll include links in the description bar down below. Now, if you do decide to use a podcast for your educational PDUs, here's what you need to do to submit them to PMI. First, visit PMI's website for reporting PDUs and click on the section for online or digital media. Here, you'll have to fill out this form for all sections related to the podcast episode. For the provider, put the Project Management Podcast. Make sure to ignore any drop-down lists with suggested provider names so you don't run into any kinds of issues. For the title, copy and paste the episode title from the podcast website. In our case, we're using episode 480, How to Manage Multiple Projects. For description, include a few sentences about the summary and the key takeaways from the episode that you just listened to. For date started and date completed, put the date that you listened to the podcast. And for the last section, we need to fill out which part of PMI's talent triangle we're claiming our PDUs. Is it the ways of working, power skills, or business acumen? For the podcast episode that we just listened to, it says on the bottom of the page that this falls under technical project management, which means that this falls under the category for ways of working. Since this podcast is about 45 minutes long, input that you have 0.75 PDUs under ways of working. Checkmark the box that you agree the claim is accurate and then click submit. If you're not sure how many PDUs to report, keep in mind the following. 0.25 PDUs corresponds to 15 minutes, 0.5 PDUs is 30 minutes, 0.75 PDUs is 45 minutes, and 1 PDU is 1 full hour. Now, the most easiest way to earn PDUs is to sign up for a monthly subscription which delivers video webinars to you every single month. If you want to get PDUs on autopilot without having to worry about all the details and what to do next, there are 2 options that I highly recommend you check out. The first is through the PDU podcast, which makes earning PDUs very easy since it delivers a new webinar every single month automatically, so you don't have to struggle and worry about how to earn your PDUs in your spare time after work. It's literally done for you on autopilot, and you receive a PDU certificate for every webinar that you listen to. So there are a total of 60 PDUs that are a part of this program, which are delivered to you on autopilot, so you can earn your PDUs very quickly. The other way is also through another program offered by Prepcast called the PM Prepcast Leadership Academy, which is an entire video interview masterclass to help you transform and be a more effective leader in your career. You get access to a ton of interviews with 15 experts, more than 17 hours of content, and you can also use this to qualify for more than 17 PDUs to renew your PMP certification. Now, both of these options, they're extremely great ways to accelerate earning your PDUs and put them on autopilot so you can quickly renew your certification and not have to worry about it in the future. Make sure to check them out using the links in the description bar down below. So here are your next action steps. First, download PMI's CCR handbook and familiarize yourself with the PD requirements. Now that you earned your PMP certification, you do not want to let it expire. Watch this video again if there's any area that you're not sure about. If you have any questions about the PDU process, leave me a comment down below. Second, start watching webinars on projectmanagement.com and report your PDUs to PMI. And third, if you want a really easy way to earn your PDUs automatically and on the fly, sign up to the PDU podcast or the PM Prepcast Leadership Academy that I mentioned earlier using the links in the description bar down below. Now, to make sure that you're earning the salary that you deserve with your PMP certification, watch this video next to learn exactly how to get a 6-figure salary as a project manager.